lot of these other movies, what they do is they take a classic storyline, a classic hero line, a classic damsel in distress line. And what they do is they fucking modernize it, right? And when they modernize it, what they do is they make it woke, right? Whether it's taking a black woman and making her James Bond, or taking Snow White and turning her into a Latina with short hair, right? Or taking Peter Parker and making him like a black Hispanic. What's been going on, guys, for the past, I would say, 10 years plus, has been the infiltration of woke culture into movies and storylines to push an agenda. And I talked about this in detail the other day. For some of you guys that didn't catch it, I did a breakdown on Michelle Obama. As you guys know, Michelle Obama started a podcast, right? And it's failing, rightfully so. And the reason why it's failing is because it's very politically correct. It's very boring. There's no interest in it. And quite frankly, the failure of this podcast shows me and reveals to me a couple of things. It shows that Americans in general, we are tired of the woke bullshit. We are tired of you guys cramming political correctness down our throats for the better part of damn near 20 years. And you guys are saying, what do you mean, Myron, by 20 years? Well, let's get into this. Since 2008, when Obama took office, not only did Obama take office and become the first black president, he ushered in what I call the woke era, okay? And the woke era was where you started to see more interracial relationships on big screens and Netflix. You started to see more gay actors. You started to see women more involved in more feminism, pushed into the mainstream light. When Obama took office, what effectively happened was he campaigned on change. He campaigned on getting rid of this all-white bureaucracy that was in place in the Bush administration prior to him. And a lot of people loved Obama, to include myself. I voted for Obama in 08, like a fucking idiot. 18 years old, didn't know better, right? Like, yeah, change, woo. But what ended up happening was not only did we get a new administration, but we also got a new culture shift. And I don't think people understand that the Obamas didn't just come in and change the administration. They changed the fucking culture. Okay? This is the first time that you had a president doing off-the-cuff interviews, right? And saying that he listens to hip-hop, or hanging out with celebrities like P. Diddy or Jay-Z, right? Or making jokes that might not have been as politically correct back then. He was like the cool president. But what people don't understand is that Obama also ushered in this woke idea, woke bullshit that we see going on now. Now, from 2008 to 2016, we endured this bullshit. For 8 long years, we endured, political correctness, a lack of racism. This is why, the Trayvon Martin case was so huge, right? When this happened, I remember Obama famously said, oh, he could be my nephew, right? When Zimmerman shot him in self-defense. So we had this woke culture that permeated the United States for the better part of 8 years during the Obama administration. Then 2016 comes along. Actually, 2015 comes along, if you guys remember. A guy named Donald Trump decides to run for office. So what does Donald Trump do? Donald Trump comes in, and he's the opposite. He's talking about Muslim bans. He's talking about building walls. He's bringing back the bigotry, right, that we allegedly escaped in 2008. It was a culture shift, right? Make America great again. Let's go back to how we used to be, right? Now, obviously, there was a lot of fighting on this. I remember vividly when I was in college, man, going back in time. I remember if you wore a Make America Great Again hat in Boston, Massachusetts, there was a good chance you'd be assaulted. I had one. I remember people talking shit. I remember people looking at me sideways for liking Donald Trump back in 2015, 2016. I remember this. Because though I had graduated college, a bunch of my friends were still in school. So I would go back to Boston and party with them sometimes, or hang out with them. Right? So when Trump came in and he won the presidency, not only was it a victory for Donald Trump, but it was also a victory for putting a fucking wedge to kind of stop this political correctness. Because Hillary represented another 4 years of Obama. Political correctness, mass feminism, more Black Lives Matter bullshit, all that stuff. because Democrats almost always campaign on race politics and political correctness. So Trump winning was actually a big W for America as well. But unfortunately, 2020 comes around and Biden wins the presidency. We all know that that was probably a scam, right? We all know that. It was
Not the cap.
But he won the presidency. And effectively what happened in 2020, amid the lockdowns, was more censorship, more of the political bullshit, political correctness bullshit that we endured during the Obama administration, and more of this acceptance of the LGBT alphabet community. And it became worse. Because remember, guys, under the Obama administration, they're the ones that legalized marriage for gay people. And I've always said that that was a slippery slope for which all the other craziness happened. The 99 genders, transitioning children, reading to kids, all of that came from allowing gay marriage. That was a slippery slope that began this process. And that came from the Obama administration. Then, when Biden came in, guess what? That was another 4 years of the Obama administration. I don't know if you guys know this, but Obama was very involved in Biden's last administration. He did a lot of the foreign talks for him. He did a lot of the negotiating for him. He was very involved in the last administration. So much so that a lot of people called it Obama's third fucking term. Because we all know that Sleepy Joe was not at the wheel. So it was basically effectively his wife in the Obama administration that were running the fucking White House the past 4 years. And how do I know this? Well, anyone that has an astute eye can see that Obama was doing a lot of these trips and traveling all over the place on behalf of Biden. We also know that the woke culture got even worse. The same woke culture that we endured from 2008 to 2016 made an ugly appearance in 2020. So Trump winning the last election in a fucking landslide has demonstrated what we've all been thinking and what this movie fails to realize, and many other movies. I wanted to give you guys the political climate and the cultural climate so you guys can understand where we are now when we talk about Snow White and these woke movies. The reason why these fucking movies are bombing is because we don't want a black Peter Parker. We don't want a Latina Snow White. We don't want a fucking female James Bond that's black. We don't want that shit. We want the original characters to stay how they were, to their originality from when they were made. And if that just so happens to be where these characters came from an era where racism or bigotry was a thing, so fucking be it. I want a white Peter Parker, I want a white fucking Snow White, and I want a white fucking toxically masculine James Bond. And trying to rewrite history for political correctness is going to fail every time. We've seen a bunch of these movies fucking bomb. Captain Marvel, the Snow White movie, there's a million that have failed because you can't jam this politically correct ideology down our throats. People are tired of it. And I would say I started to see the shift in 2008 onward, that we had this fucking whole change policy and we became super woke. And that is precisely why Michelle Obama's fucking podcast is failing, because people are tired of the bullshit, man. And that is why the term go woke, go broke is so fucking real, because these fucking Hollywood producers don't have the creativity to make their own shit. They have to use old, legendary characters and storylines and use that to draw the audience in, but then they push their fucking bullshit agenda within it. I'm sorry, bro. I don't want my fucking Snow White being Hispanic. No, thank you. And I think the people agree with me on this one.
Snow White was one of the most important films in history. It's what made Disney where it is today and defeats evil through her kindness. It's infused with deeper messaging, appealing to everyone for generations. And now this modern version is just Disney's modern retelling of a headstrong girl destined to lead her kingdom.
Yeah, they fucked up. Yeah, guys, they fucked up Star Wars. They fucked up so many legendary titles, man, to push woke leftist ideology.
And this is probably the tuned down version, considering all the
Nigga, we want Snow White. We don't want fucking Snow rice and beans, man. Get the fuck out of here. Niggas want Snow White, not Snow fucking tamales, man.
backlash the movie has received over the last 2 years. But unfortunately, neither story is told very well in this movie. Now, it's easy to pick out which parts of the movie are initial footage and which are just reshoots, and this is mostly because of how Snow White's personality seems to change. For the first third of the film, Rachel Zegler surprisingly seems sweet and naive, reminiscent of the original cartoon, and everything Rachel Zegler seemed to be against in interviews for the movie. And yet here she is, cleaning the castle, singing to herself, and worrying about what's happening in a kingdom she doesn't know much about. And she maintains this personality up until she leaves the dwarfs' cottage. However, it's when she's wandering the forest and encounters her love interest for the second time that her personality begins to take a jarring change. While still sheltered, she's much more stubborn and outspoken, just like people were predicting Snow White would be based on the actor's original interviews. She also doesn't seem to appreciate how her love interest is framing her. The two sides of her personality seem to be at war until the final confrontation with the evil queen. Then she's back to being a sweet, naive girl who happily dances her way through the kingdom. But unfortunately, Snow White's contradictory personality is just the tip of the iceberg with everything wrong in the movie, as overall it just felt like to most viewers they were trying to do too much in too short of a time frame. As a result, some parts of the movie are very obviously missing. For example, at one point Snow White mentions the name of a character we're never actually introduced to. They then try to hide this by panning over to the character in question, but it still feels out of place, especially since the scene in question is used to force romance. But you can't even really call the dynamic between Snow White and her love interest Jonathan as a romance. You see, Jonathan goes from actively disliking her and lecturing her about her privilege to then suddenly taking an arrow for her. But bearing in mind that up until this point the two have known each other for just 2 days at most. Now of course this is often the case with Disney romance stories, but these stories are usually always supported by the chemistry between the characters. But Snow White and Jonathan just seem to have almost none. It's just completely forced in for the script.
Yeah, and also they tried to make Snow White a fucking feminist on this one. Like, what the fuck? Bro, what happened to the damsel in distress?
Despite this though, the movie does insist that these two are madly in love with each other. They're so in love with each other in fact that it's enough to break the curse the evil queen puts on Snow White. But their whole romance is just way too rushed to ever feel meaningful, and it just ends up feeling flat. There's no intrigue, no new angle between—
Yeah, because they tried to model the Snow White in this one as a fucking feminist. And this is what I mean when I say feminism fucking fails, bro. Every time. Feminism simply does not adhere to reality. They tried to push this feminist ideology in the movie if she could be herself and she could rescue herself. Bro, niggas don't want to see that, man. Because we know the truth. Bro, these bitches don't even know what they want to have for lunch. The fuck do you mean save a kingdom? Get the fuck out of here, man.
Falcon Punch!
Like, what are you talking about, bro? Most of these women can't even change a tire. Fuck you talking about changing the regime of the empire. Like, no, bro, no. It's not real. Feminism is a lie. Feminism only exists in first world countries where security is given. I'm gonna say that again for you niggas, all right? Feminism only exists in first world countries where security is a given. And it's a given thanks to the monopoly of force being held by who? Men. That's the only way feminism exists. Do you guys think feminism existed in like fucking feudal China? No. Do you think feminism existed with the Aztecs? No. Do you think feminism existed during the colonial era? No. It didn't. Feminism only exists because men allow it to exist, because we have a monopoly on force. So when you go ahead and you try to take a Disney story that clearly is being taken back to, old times, it's disingenuous and extremely misleading to your audience to push this feminist narrative, because there was no feminism during this era at all. That's why people don't like this shit. It's not real. Feminism is a farce. It only exists with men allowing it. It's not real. It's bullshit. This is why the whole ideology of women being superheroes or women being like, getting the hero's journey, it's not real. There's no burden of performance on women. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a fuck. There's a reason why we watch Rocky. There's a reason why we watch Karate Kid. There's a reason why we watch Rambo or Terminator or Jean-Claude Van Damme or Bloodsport. We watch these movies because you see the guy get his ass kicked in the beginning, then he trains, he busts his ass, and then he fights the fucking enemy at the end and he wins, because we see the hero's journey, which mirrors a real man's life. We have to fight for everything we get in life. This is the masculine burner performance. This is the masculine journey. That is why it resonates with people, why people love it so much. It's real. When you see Rocky running through the streets of Philadelphia in the fucking 1970s, while simultaneously trying to get Adrian to hook up with him, but failing in the beginning, that is real. How many guys have trained for some type of sporting event, sacrificed everything, try to get the girl, fail here, fail there, get their ass whooped? The reason why these stories resonate and they're so fucking legendary is because it's true. It happens. You want to know what doesn't happen? Bitches fighting for what they get. Nobody cares about the woman's journey. Let's just keep it a million. Hollywood, if you niggas are watching, bring me in as a consultant. I'd have you niggas profitable in 2 days. Because I'd fire all the fucking bitches that think that they're superheroes. The fuck out of here. Nobody cares about the woman's experience because women live life on easy mode. This is the truth. Women effectively live life on fucking easy mode. Every society was built by men. Every journey has been run by through men, not women. So when you sit here, you try to cram this bullshit down our throat, feminism, women power, fuck out of here. There's no such thing as woman power. It's manpower. We just let you bitches think you have some power. You don't have any. The average woman would literally you lose a fight against a 13-year-old boy. A 15-year-old boy can literally beat up 90% of women. So when you sit here and you try to make the fucking story about a female hero, we're not buying it, bro. Most women can't even fight a fucking freshman. You niggas want me to sit here and believe that she's a superhero, she's gonna rescue us? Get the fuck out of here, man. And this is the conversation that no one wants to fucking have. I gotta be one of the few niggas on the internet to call like it is. We're tired of female heroes. Women don't save shit. Because they don't give a shit about anything besides themselves. Every revolution has been fought by fucking men. Every war has been fought by fucking men. The freedom you enjoy, thank a man for it. Women don't build shit. They just move in. This is why when Mustache Man and his niggas took over France, what did the bitches do? Did they grab a fucking rifle and fight back against the Nazis? No! They fucking had sex with the fucking Nazis. Why? Because women submit to whoever the fuck is the strongest, to include if an invading army comes in and takes over their land. This is why we don't want to see women in positions of power or any type of hero type movie. It's not real. It's not real. Did those bitches pick up rifles and fight back against the Nazis? No! They got by the Nazis. So don't push this feminist propaganda against us. Women don't do shit. They don't. Stop making female heroes. We don't want to see it. Stop trying to make women the fucking leaders of the movie. We don't want to see it. We want Rocky. We want Jean-Claude Van Damme type shit, Bloodsport. We want Karate Kid. We want to see males fucking win because it makes sense. It's the truth and it's how the world works. Men must become. Women just are. And this woke ideology clearly is losing you stupid ass niggas billions